What many modern Pentecostals and Charismatics don't know is that the earliest Pentecostals all believed that speaking in tongues was the supernatural ability to speak foreign languages. None of them thought it is an ecstatic speech.
Parham was in the newspaper on multiple occasions talking about how now that the gift of tongues has been restored to the church, no one is going to have to go to language school to learn foreign languages, and we'll be able to send missionaries all around the world without them having to spend years training and learning a foreign language in order to be effective. And the budding Pentecostal movement actually sent missionaries to foreign fields, trusting that they would be able to just show up, be given the gift of languages, and communicate with the nationals in those foreign countries.
So they went off to China and India and other places, thinking they were speaking in those languages while proclaiming the gospel, only to figure out that no one in the audience was able to understand them.
And of course, they all came back utterly disappointed and dejected when they realized that what they were doing in terms of their modern glossolalia did not communicate in terms of a foreign language with the people they were trying to reach. And so consequently, the Pentecostal movement had to change its understanding of Scripture to fit its experience rather than acknowledging that its experience did not fit the clear teaching of Scripture.
They opened up a second category of tongues that included unintelligible speech.
You don't find the notion that tongue speaking in the Bible is anything other than real human languages until you get to the modern charismatic movement. The modern charismatic movement has invented a new kind of tongues because the tongues that they practice don't match what the Scripture reveals as the real gift of tongues, and as a result, they had to broaden the biblical category to make room for their experience.
Yes, you can speak in tongues. The more you do it, the better you'll be at it. But we can at least get you started in this.
I just want to help you to activate your tongues. It's very simple. All you have to do is just choose to step out and speak in tongues.
Now, I don't want you to overthink it. Don't speak in English, don't think English.
So the first thing you need to do is you just clear your mind.
I want you to flip the switch from your mind to your spirit, man.
Don't let your mind take control. Allow your spirit to take control.
You're going to start to feel this almost like a bubbling up that happens.
Just as you feel it bubbling up, begin to speak.
Don't fight it. Don't resist it.
It may be a simple syllable, but continue to release it.
Even if it sounds weird to your mind, it doesn't matter. It's not a language of the mind, it's a language of the spirit.
And I'm gonna give the command of faith, and at that very moment, you're going to no longer speak in your native language, but you're gonna speak out of your spirit. 1, 2, 3.
Mom briaste cariesta brianda. Yes, the mind says it's weird, but the spirit says, hello, this is awesome. Chiara bashondre chiese.
And congratulations, you've been filled with the Spirit and you can now speak in tongues on demand.
I tried to speak in tongues. Man, I tried for years with the hope that something external would become internal and would come out.
Probably the number one reason most people don't receive the gift is they're just overthinking it. People wonder, what if this is just me praying this? Or worse, what if this is a demonic spirit? What if this is not of God? What if what I'm receiving is fake? What if it's all just hype? What if it's all just emotion? And we become afraid. So if you're waiting for your mind to comprehend everything that's going on in praying in tongues, you're not going to pray in tongues.
Then I'm listening to all of these people around me speaking in tongues. And I waited for this music to kind of drive what was happening till the point where I kind of grew in this emotional state where all of a sudden I may have said a phrase or two. And I thought, oh, I got it. That's it. I'm speaking in tongues, right? And it was a check mark for your kind of your spiritual journey, right? Did I have an experience? Absolutely, I had an experience. Would I examine the scripture and say that what I experienced looks like what the text of scripture says? Absolutely not. It's just babble for the purpose of an ecstatic, emotional experience.
You could study that language for forever. You're never going to come up with a pattern. It's just plain gibberish. But I read in Romans chapter 8 that the Spirit speaks with groanings that are too deep for words. Maybe that verse is what is meant by this. I feel this overwhelming urge from the Spirit to utter something, and that's what comes out.
You have a choice. You can choose to pray with your spirit, to pray in the Spirit, or you can choose to pray with your mind in your known language. So you can choose to pray in mysteries, or you can choose to pray in a known language. You have the ability to do that, to choose that.
There is no given permission in Scripture to speak some gibberish nonsense that no one is going to understand. But think about what Jesus said when he taught us how to pray. In Matthew 6:7, he said, "Don't heap up empty phrases like the pagans do." And then he says, "Pray then like this." And Jesus taught us to pray clear prayers. He was never praying anything that was some otherly language. And if there was anyone who was going to pray in such a language, it would certainly be the one who was sent down from heaven, Christ himself.